This is what so many are striving to reach, this space of connection within themselves and strength, really, to show up as themselves every day.
Mhm.
And you're there. So,
Mhm.
how did you get there? And I know that somewhat goes to this.
Ah, wow. It's like a life journey. It was about 9 years ago. Actually, my son, who he's turning 9 next week, he's my baby. And when he was little, I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. And I was miserable. I was really unhappy. My husband and I were almost getting a divorce. I was waking up every day just feeling like, is this as good as it gets? And I was sick and tired of it. And at the time, I was a master stylist in the beauty industry. I worked in this fancy salon and had a beautiful clientele. And I had the house, I had the dogs. I didn't have the white picket fence, I had the wooden fence. I had the car, I had all the clothes. And I felt myself lacking. I felt myself unhappy. And it was like this breaking moment. And I remember looking out of my window, always saying, like, this is as good as it gets. And then there was something deeper within me that was like, no, this is not as good as it gets. There's something more. And that's when I felt my awakening began. I just started waking up and having all of these self realizations. And I found this book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it was this beautiful guide to transform your life. It was like the not so obvious guide to transform your life before 8 a.m. And it was this beautiful guide to wake up and do you and practice you in the mornings. And at the time, my little guy was waking me up like, 4 to 8 times a night to nurse. That was his pacifier. And and then my daughter was waking up, and then my son, he would like wet the bed. So needless to say, I was like sleep deprived for like years, as us moms can resonate with. And I made myself wake up at 5:01. I was like, I am waking up. I'm doing something different. And so I started a morning practice. I started waking up and I started journaling. I started meditating, which was really hard at first. And it still is. I have my challenges. And I started just sitting with myself and feeling into this pain and allowing myself to bring it up. And then I started moving my body and it brought me to yoga, or yoga came to me. And it was this beautiful practice where I just invited myself permission to show up as me. And whether it was sitting and breathing on the mat, or if it was maybe being in a restorative child pose and crying because I was exhausted and I was afraid maybe that my husband was going to leave. And I would be with that. And and then it just progressed and it shifted and it opened up all of these beautiful relationships. It was so interesting because I have 4 sisters and then I have 3 stepbrothers. And my dad, he was not around for 7 years when I was a little girl. And so deep seated, I've realized through this healing is that I've had these like abandonment wounds and always feeling like men in my life are going to abandon me. This was my husband and I's healing journey. And it's just interesting because through this whole journey, I just allowed myself permission to be with all of it. And then these sisters, women like you, like Stephanie showed up. It was one day she showed up in my chair. I remember I was like walking into the salon. I was a few minutes late because I was writing Awaken You. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I was late. I was in flow. I was writing my book. And she looked at me and said, oh, you're writing a book? And then we had this like instant soul sister connection. And it was like, whew. And then through her, it just opened up and we started doing these like women's circles and women's groups. And then through that, my sister and I created this beautiful project where we came into school called the Life Loves You Project. And there's 3 of us moms who went into our school because it was horrible and devastating. There was an 8th grade student who committed suicide in our school. And I just felt like there's something I have to do. Like, this is not okay that there was an 8th grade boy who felt so alone that he had to end his life. And so, through all of this, like connecting and things, my sister and I and another beautiful soul sister created the Life Loves You Project. And it was based on Louise Hay. She's been one of my beautiful spiritual mentors. And we came into the schools and we started teaching all the things that I was learning. I was learning breath and yoga. And then we were teaching them self compassion. We were teaching them to treat themselves the way that they treat the people that they love the most. And then we were teaching them forgiveness, and we were teaching them mindfulness around your thoughts and what you're thinking. And we did this amazing exercise that was so powerful. It was on the inner bully, like our inner critic, and all of the things that it says. And it hit me hard. We were in my nephew's 5th grade classroom, and we were asking all of the kids what some of their self-destructive thoughts were. And, they were saying, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. And it makes me want to cry. My nephew blurted out, I wish I was never born. And I heard that from my nephew, who's so loved and so supported. And then we looked around the classroom and we wrote all of these things on the board. And we looked up at the board and we had all of the students raise their hand if they had similar thoughts. And I'm not kidding you. It was like 90% of the kids shared those same thoughts.
Yeah.
And then we did this beautiful exercise. So we wrote all that down. And then the kids, we were like, okay, so this is your inner bully. It's saying all these things. And then we had them with energy and intention. We grabbed the paper, we stood up, we destroyed it, we ripped it up in 2,000 pieces. Like the energy you could tell was like all around the room. And then we threw it into the trash. And then we allowed them to recreate the thoughts that they were thinking. And it was so powerful because you could feel that energetic shift. I'm a Reiki master, so I do a lot of energy work, kind of like behind the scenes when I'm doing these things. And you could feel the energetic shift in these children. And it was beautiful. And then, so we did this beautiful Life Loves You project, and then crazy COVID hit, right? All the things. And yeah, it's just beautiful the way that life has come around. And then through all of this, it was called Hula Hope. It was this beautiful soul sisterhood where we did retreats for women. We had a soul sister who passed away when she was 34 years old. She had breast cancer and 2 young sons. And again, we brought all of our love, and we were like, women need to have sisterhood, just like how we met at Stephanie's beautiful retreat. Like, we need to create this sisterhood, and we need to start having those hard conversations like we had with those kiddos at the Life Loves You project. And we need to help women feel seen, heard, and understood. And we had this beautiful 2-day retreat, and we love hula hooping. So we brought the hula hoop in as this representation of you are the center of your own universe. And the hula hoop also for us represented joy, because a lot of us women don't allow joy in. And then we brought self-compassion. It was beautiful just to see this connection. And then it brought me to you, and expanding and growing from there.